What is going on, guys? My name is Lermus Prime and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Shadow of War's Endgame, the Shadow Wars. And does it require loot boxes? As you can already see, I'm looking over a video that PC Games did. I'll put the link to their video and to their channel. Watching their video helps me understand a little bit more about the situation, and now I'm going to tell you guys my point of view on the microtransactions, the end game, the loot boxes, all the specifics, just to show you guys what I think of it. So starting with the microtransactions. As you can already see, there's a spot in the game called the market. Everyone is aware of this, and a lot of people are pissed about it. Me, frankly, I just saw it as a chance to get orcs, loot, all that stuff, and XP boosts. Just normal stuff that you can use in the game if you really wanted to. Now, the developers and even people who have reviewed and played the game have said that you don't have to go use real money to buy stuff like gold and Miriam. You can get that stuff regularly in the game. Now, with gold, you get small amounts of it, especially with the Vendetta missions you play as, but at least you get something that you can work towards. Now, once you complete the game, there's something called the Shadow Wars, which is basically the only way you can unlock the true end credit scene to the game. Now, this is kind of like a callback to Batman Arkham Knight, where you could beat the story, but you'd still have to beat the rest of the missions in the game to unlock the final story cutscene in the very end, where Batman, spoilers, sacrificed himself, and then you saw the Dark Knight scare the criminals and stuff. Just search up Batman Arkham Knight True Ending, and you'll understand what I'm talking about if you don't know what happened in that game. But in Shadow of War, and I'm actually kind of excited for this, they keep you to the game. The purpose of these big of games is to keep you to it, keep you interested. Even if you have to buy loot chests and war chests, at least you're still working through the game. Some people say it's not worth doing it, it doesn't feel worth it once you get through it. But from my point of view, I'm not going to use the market at all. Not until I really need to, some point in the Shadow Wars. Like, I think, because the people in this video said it themselves, you will play the game and get Miriam, and you get a lot of it. Obviously, you can see that the currency that this YouTuber has was 52,701 Miriam and 500 gold. Probably all of that he said that he got in game. He did not purchase. Now, you can take into context what happens when we lose all of that stuff during the Shadow Wars, because you really aren't using that stuff anytime during the story besides the fortresses, buying upgrades to assault the fortresses, basically, with your war chiefs, your army. Now, besides all of that stuff, you're still going to get a huge amount of Miriam towards the end game if you collect it, if you go around and collect it. Knowing myself, I know every time I'm going to get into a certain region, before I complete the missions in that region and I move on, I'm going to collect everything I can and then move on to start that 100% completion in general. I did this in Shadow of Mordor, I did this in Batman Arkham Knight, I did this in any game that has, basically, that has all this stuff. Lego games, same thing. And it works. In Shadow of War, however, it's the same thing. Some people just can't seem to understand that. And although people are pretty angry about the microtransactions, and who can blame them? It's in a single-player game, which is not multiplayer like Grand Theft Auto. But look at games like Grand Theft Auto, for instance. Do you notice how playing that game, for me, I play that game, and when I first played it, I was excited. I loved it. But after a while, I started to not want to play it. DLC, even though it was free, everything in there was completely overpriced. I never had hundreds of dollars to buy the shark cards that were willing to buy things like the yacht and the bases that you could buy in that game, and all the vehicles and weapon customizations you could use. All that stuff started to be overpriced, and even a lot of YouTubers have talked about that. Look at Shadow of War. And I'm not a complainer. I'm not going to complain about Shadow of War's use of microtransactions. I'm actually glad they have it. It gives you a chance to beat the game and not get frustrated because you're spending 50 to to 60 hours grinding and trying to get soldiers and stuff, and you could do that. I will do that most of my time. The only times I said that I'll ever use the microtransaction market system is when I really need to. And the thing about the loot doesn't much matter. Getting something like loot chests, it's just asking for weapons and like loot, which you can earn by playing vendetta missions and going through the game by completing just missions and killing captains. Epic, legendary, it doesn't matter. But when it comes to war chests and XP boosts and your garrison and all that stuff really has no use until the Shadow Wars breaks out. Because during the Shadow Wars, because if you have not seen my prediction for how the game will end, the story, then I think I mentioned this, but I'm pretty sure all of your followers, including Bruise, dies. Heck, one of the reviewers said, everybody dies or something like that. I believe that's what he said. But remember, possible spoilers here. I'm pretty sure all your dudes die. Every single one of them. Maybe characters like, obviously, Karnan's going to survive. She survived longer. And characters like Altariel, she'll probably live on. But characters like Celebrimbor or possibly Celebrimbor, or characters like Bruise and the War Chiefs and all the orcs that you found in this game, you're most likely going to assault Barad-dûr with every single army of soldiers you had. Well, not every single, but you get the gist. Most captains and stuff that you got in every region will join your battle and help assault Barad-dûr in the endgame of Shadow of War. Or in this case, the endgame of the story, not the Shadow Wars. So when they talk about how you need to go through and get new followers, they're kind of just telling you that once you complete the story, you're basically getting another chance to play the game without going through the story and the tutorials and stuff. And I love that. Getting to go through every region again, defend the fortress, or if it's taken over, take it back with new orcs, new followers, it actually is pretty amazing, because never have I really played a game where it's like you'll complete the story mode and then you complete the missions and you're really not going to have any other thing to do after that. Then it's just explore or leave the game in general. Things like GTA, yeah, they come out with new DLC, but it's just all the same thing. Go you know, consult this guy, and then go pick something up and take it back. Or if someone defeats you, you have to retry the mission or recollect stuff, like things like the Finance and Felony DLC. Shadow of War, I think, is one of the best games, just because this system, this market system, should be helping it. People should be supporting the fact that this is supposed to keep you titled to the game, pulled to it, and not let you leave it like games like Grand Theft Auto 5, where you just, after a while, don't want to play it anymore because it's the same thing. Yeah, microtransactions in a single-player game is a little vague. It's not right. It's not something you see every day, but then again, what would you rather play? Shadow of War for the rest of the year, or Grand Theft Auto for the next 5 years until they finally announce another Grand Theft Auto game? I would play Shadow of War more than I'd play anything else. I still have GTA 5. I don't play it. I don't play it because it's just the same thing, and it's a pain in the butt collecting everything and then it getting destroyed by a player who doesn't have anything, or has everything and just really wants to screw with you. It's things like this where I'm just like, I would rather play a game where you're consciously trying to beat it than a game that you've already beaten and there's nothing to do except for the same thing. If you can get my gist of that. In Shadow of War, as I've said many times, you're going as soon as you get to the Shadow Wars, you're basically doing everything you did before. It's like playing Shadow of Mordor and taking all 5 of your war chiefs, killing them, and then starting over. In the Nemesis update that was on Shadow of Mordor, that's what I did. I would basically find my Nemesis, find my ally. If I wasn't satisfied with my people, I would reforge the forge, and then go through the process again. Pretty simple. That's kind of what you're doing in the Shadow Wars. You finish the story, and now you're trying to make sure that you can defend Mordor from Sauron, from Barad-dûr. And that's actually pretty satisfying. This game, I think, is going to get Game of the Year. I think it has a big chance of getting Game of the Year. Not because people are reviewing it, not because everybody's hating on it, but because it has this system, because it knows what gamers want. I know we didn't ask for the market, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people would like it if it didn't exist to begin with. But there's a bigger chance that you would probably stay not wanting to play it after you beat the story than ever. Because I remember, and a lot of people have said this, you play a story, you complete it, you start to feel, what am I supposed to do now? And then they replay the story over and over and over again. And I know I'm going to do that multiple times after I complete 100%, all that stuff. But come into contrast or into what we're talking about here. We're talking about, does Shadow of War's Endgame require loot boxes? Does it matter? Is it supposed to be something that you'd rather keep or have? Would you play Shadow of War or would you not because of this? It's this whole subject. Microtransactions has always been something everybody's had a problem with. And for Shadow of War's sake, once it got announced, it was a thing of, am I going to buy the game or am I not going to buy the game because microtransactions exists in it? Most people have leaned towards buying it because they want to play the game and they know you do not have to use the market system to beat it. Monolith has said this. WB, we can't really trust WB. They always have done this, so they're not part of this. Monolith are the creators. They created the game. WB, Warner Brothers, they're the ones who publish it. So, the thing is, most people like it, want to play the game. And then other people don't want to because of one thing, and that's just microtransactions. I would rather play this. If this game had a bad story, I'd still play it. If this game had no microtransactions in it, I'd still play it. Regardless, I'm still playing this game. I'm not going to just wait for someone to review it, say it's bad or good, and then choose. I'm going to play it regardless because you can't trust what people say. You can't trust what I say. You can't trust what someone says. So regardless, it comes down to one simple decision. Are you going to play the game or are you not going to play the game? Because the market system is included. Now I know I'm going to put a poll. Either you're going to vote yes or you're going to vote no. It means nothing to me, but then we can figure out together what does this mean. And when Shadow of War comes out, when everyone's able to see its true colors unfold, the characters, the story, the game itself, we're going to conclude. Once we beat the game together, we're going to talk. Did it matter? Did this game feel right? Did it matter in general? And I know, because of what I've said, I know it's going to be a good game. Because of what people have reviewed, what Monolith has been trying for months to explain to us. That it is a good game. And that it deserves more credit than what people are giving it. Thank you guys for watching so much. This video kind of just gotten real deep. Because when you come into context of what people have been talking about lately, no one's giving it much credit. Only a few YouTubers and a few people are actually liking it. Actually care. And when people talk about how IGN's getting paid to say this, or this and that, you just can't simply accept it, can you? No one can, not a lot of people can accept it. If you can't seem to accept that a game might actually be good that includes microtransactions, then you're never gonna like any other game that has single player. Single player games, yeah, they're not multiplayer, so they're technically not supposed to have microtransactions. But look at mobile games, for freaking crying out loud. They're not multiplayer, most of them, and they have microtransactions in them. Do you complain? I haven't seen a lot of complaints on that. I want to know down in the comments below, what was your viewpoint on this? And if you liked the video, please please comment, subscribe. But if you disliked the video, please tell me what I can do to improve. And if you disliked it because I was talking about and I agreed that microtransactions are pretty good in this game, or my viewpoint in general, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. It's not fact. No one can prove facts in this game unless a huge amount says. When is that in the other room? Anyway, peace out, guys.